Hi guys, my name is Michelle Vinicurve. I am a blogger of my own blog called the World of Autism. I have been blogging since last year of 2019, and I noticed a lot with how much my blog's been growing in terms of like stories I've written from my own experiences living with autism to now expanding upon where I have people coming on to share their experiences, whether you're an individual with autism, a parent that has a child that's living with autism, to a professional that's working with an individual with autism. So my guest on here that I'm so fortunate to have on here, his name is Albert Jersey. Albert, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Michelle.
Awesome. So I want to get us started here by letting you introduce yourself a bit and also to share about like your experiences growing up with autism.
Well, I would like to say, I grew up in Massachusetts. Raised, moved here like around here when I was 4. Like raised in Sterling. That was my hometown. Right now, I live in Clinton currently. Well, like throughout my experience living with autism, I can say it's been like a challenge, but honestly, a really big blessing because like our differences is like what makes us like unique and like awesome basically. I know it's like social like skills like can be like I don't know like a downturn, but you actually what's the thrill of like going through it is like, oh, I can socialize like with different people better. It just makes you like go and go at the get-go. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean. I kind of get what you
yeah,
mean.
right. It's like in a like you think more of like an abundance mindset. Like it's like, okay, let's just say like you get everything you want like in life. Let's just someone that lives, I don't know, in a wicked wealthy family, like let's just say billionaire wealthy family. I don't think this person's gonna have the drive or something like that. But if it's someone like who like struggles or something like that, they're gonna like keep pushing and moving forward with the challenges and all that.
Yes, I can definitely see that. Like I feel like I could see that with you where you're saying that like um autistic individuals, we have like the drive, like we have the passion and then like our special interest really like drives us to do more beyond what you like what anybody else like is capable of. So I get what you mean right there. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and like I know we all can relate that we have obsessions with like I don't know limited interests or so, but yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that if some of them like that way, that's fine. It it
Right.
some of them on the spectrum want to do limited interest to make them happy, that's fine, but
Mhm.
that just suits them. It's whatever suits their like repetitive like habits and all that. Like that's what matters the most. Like the one of the most like important aspects of their lives is to like communicate and create a connection between people.
Exactly. It's about the connections and stuff. And like, you never know. There are people out there who have the same interest like that, despite that it can, like, yes, there are people like that have limited interests and stuff. And I could absolutely tell, like, from my own experiences and as I work as a paraprofessional for elementary school students living with autism. So, I've
Mm.
seen it like every day with the students that there are students that have like more interest than others. And even from my own experiences at first it was a little limited and now it's been like expanded a lot more. But yes, I absolutely. And anybody can make connections and there's a lot more there can be a lot more similarities than anything.
Right. It's like I want. You ever heard of like that new Netflix special? It's like Data on the Autism Spectrum. Like I saw that. Like I don't know, a few months back or a couple months back. It's like common interest. It's like what you mentioned. Like I think that would be a great recommendation for all of them to watch on and in
Wait, what
order
is it called again?
Love on a Spectrum.
I have seen that. Oh my goodness, I have seen that on Netflix. I saw the first season already, and it is quite fascinating. It really is. But at the same time, like just like with any show that they show about with like about
Right.
who portray those with autism, that you know, I think it would be a lot better. Like, yes, the show does have individuals with autism, which is that's phenomenal. It really is. It's just that in a way, I feel like there are things that are kind of too scripted. You know?
Yeah, right. But I do love Mike. Like I just love it.
I know, I know. I'm like, like he is trying though. He is.
At least he knows something, but I just think the thing with him is like I just think it's like, all right, you just gotta let it go. Like that might be the thing. Like let the
Yes,
balance.
I have noticed that like I heard from so many guests and like from others who have told me that one of the things that some people have a really hard time letting go of things, no matter like how good they think it is, but in reality it's like you have to let it go because it's going to help you a lot more than you think it will.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I know that for sure. There have been my own experiences about that, I know, but I've heard from others that like it's just a journey itself to learn to let the negatives go and like any like things that they felt like it could be good, but there are things out there that are better. So
Right.
that's my point with that, and I could see that that's your point too, right there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So now I kind of want to go on with this is that I actually fun fact with Albert that he was actually featured on Ryan Litchfield's blog and everything called Ryan's Voice with Friends, and Ryan Litchfield was one of my guests on my blog, so you guys could check out with his interview and everything. But yeah, so um Albert, how long have you been friends with Ryan? Because I think it's been a while, right?
I think it's been a while since I graduated. Like actually, it's been like a really long time. I think it's been a while.
Oh,
Since like 2011 or 2012. It's been a really long time, I believe.
that's awesome. That's good. That's awesome. You guys have such a like a long friendship and everything. And let me just say that's one of the things about with autism that everyone strives for is for like the meaningful, like good friendships and everything.
Right,
Like
exactly.
um so that's really cool. That is awesome. And do you feel that that's important to you? Like, I want to ask you this because, just so for the audience to know that, like, do you feel it's important to have like those good like friendships, like that, what you guys have?
Yes, like absolutely. Friendships is like what like increases happiness and like what stabilizes happiness. Like it's like yeah, it's what whenever you like have an issue, it's like who are you gonna go to if like your mom and dad or brothers or family aren't around, like or even a stranger, like you can't think of okay, I'll just call like my best friend, like or something like that.
I can definitely agree with you there. Absolutely. Like, um, I've been fortunate myself that I have like such a great group of best friends who I've known actually way back since middle school. And
Hmm.
no matter what, and for me, that's been like for most of them, it's been like 10 years now. So, I will just say that like there are a lot of good people out there. There are. It's just that you gotta like understand the cues and everything to like know what's which that's another thing about with living with autism is that and Albert, I think you could agree with this too, that the social cues and everything, like those hidden rules.
Yes, yes.
So
We all still go through with it a little bit once in a while.
yeah, like knowing like what's important like for like any friendship, like trust and honesty and like anything like that. It,
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's true right there. That's for any friendship, and that's for any advice to those that are watching. Just so you know, like for like good friendship, like Albert has with his friends, including Ryan, like and with me with my group of best friends. Like there are good people out there. Just understand that what you should look for is that like for a good person, a friend, like know that like they should be trustworthy. They're not going to go behind your back, because I know unfortunately that we there are experiences I've gone through where people have gone behind my back. Albert, I'm sure that
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
one yourself. If you want to share a little bit of your experiences and like how you bounce back from them.
Yeah, I remember it's like a couple of friends just like, I don't know, I thought they were my friends. I don't know, back in high school, I would say like, yeah, well, it was just like I was like with a group of a football team, like, well, I just thought they were my friends, like the football team or whatever. But it turns out they weren't. Like after a while, when I was trying to fit in, like, and then like after that, like I lost a part of my identity, like, and I just had to figure out who I was, like, and I was a teenager back then. Didn't make best decisions like later on, but I just bounced back up as I did more self-reflecting as the years went on by.
That yeah, I could see that. That happens with everybody. Like they're like as years go by and stuff, like people through experiences like grow from them. Like they reflect on them and then they learn from it, saying that like, you know what, I get what I did and I'm gonna take action and change on that so I do better for the future.
Right.
So that's a good point right there. That is a really good point. I like that. I really like that, Albert.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to transition us here to about with employment, because that's another big topic in terms about in the autism community that has been a struggle like for years, where the unemployment rate is like sky high. But I have heard with you that you've been doing well with your job. So you
Yep.
are a project coordinator, right?
That's right.
So you want to tell us about with what's like as a project coordinator, and another thing to add with that is that did you um did you disclose about with living with autism? Because I heard that's another thing that like that's been up in the air as well.
Okay. Well, what it's like being a project coordinator over there? Well, it's actually really fun. Like once we worked on site and all that. Um, well, the job, like on a serious note, well, I'm in the, well, what we do is like I work on the bills. Like it's basically in billing. We basically keep track of like how much like each study costs, and then like make sure all the numbers add up, and then we invoice like the client and all that.
Hmm. That does sound interesting. Huh.
And like as like for like disclosing my disability, well, we don't have to, but I actually did tell him, and nothing happened.
So they were they like accepting about with you like with living with autism, because like autism we don't define it but we it is part of us.
Yeah, they accepted me for who I am. It's like our disabilities, our differences don't define who we are. Like,
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear that. That's what I more places need to strive for is like that kind of like acceptance and everything. Like to know that like they're to focus on the strengths beyond like beyond our beyond the disability. Which I know there's so many people out there that have been working like projects on that and everything. So yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. I could say from my own experiences too, like you, but that we're going into my job as a paraprofessional, the classroom that it was actually very randomly that this happened for me. That I ended up being in a classroom that was with students with autism. So it was random, and I I was just very thankful about it because I didn't have to disclose about myself either, because I was able to relate to the students already. Like I didn't have to like do anything and stuff. And like my my coworkers get it because they've been doing like been working with these kind of with autistic children for like years. So, you know, it, everyone was is just like so nice and like um helpful and like working together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Sure at your work that you guys work as a team together to get things done. And that's what happens in the school building I work in. So
Yeah. Yep, teamwork is really important. Like we always had to see each other. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, like should I do it individually or not? Everyone does that. I'm not the only one.
let me ask you, are you in the position where it's like a as a project coordinator, are you like like a supervisor level or are you like in the middle? Like how's that?
Yeah, basically in the middle.
So like you have people under you that you have to like train and everything.
Yeah, it's like the newcomers usually. Like it's like our group is like we usually had to train whoever the new person comes in.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. And how long have you been working for as a project coordinator?
I would say about 3 years.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you've been working for a good while. How do you like I'm trying to think of like this. So like how do you think that you have for you working for so long, like how do you think that you had that kind of success for this long of your employment?
I just like just keep going. Whenever there's like a bad day, you just like learn from it. It's just like I don't know. It's like my I know it's a cliche, like as my dad says, just suck it up. Like, but it's like the more you just resist like the environment around you, like it's just gonna come back at you. You just feel more and more bad. Just let it go, like until it, like you don't feel bad no more. Like
I could see that. I could see that. Just like shrug off like anything that's negative that's happened and just like keep doing what you're doing because it does get better. It does.
right, right. It's like you just can't like think like oh I feel like crap sometimes, so it's it's gonna last forever. I'm like, most I don't think that's ever happened to any of us. Like, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I get that. I do get that. So so Albert, we are going to wrap this up here as the last thing that I always ask to all my guests to all my guests on here that what what are some advice that you want to give to others who live with autism and like or to like parents who have children with autism and professionals working with individuals with autism?
Well, I would say this to the kids. It's like don't don't join like a group of friends like just to fit in, but rather just like make a friend like just to make you happy, or just do anything like that you like to make yourself happy. Just don't impress like other people. Just don't be needy. Like, and to the parents, like also like don't make your child like a little bit needy. Just focus on the happiness first. Like that's what's important the most.
Yeah, very true for the parents. Like just safety, happiness for their kid because they will progress and everything. It just takes time like that. It does.
Right.
It does take time. And what about do you have anything for any professionals that are working with autistic individuals?
I would say like always like value patience like and understanding and empathy like that will really help because you never know what's going inside like their head
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
because almost all of them like always means like good intentions.
Yes, absolutely. Like you don't let the for any professionals, like you were saying, like don't let the disability like pretty much think that that's what's like hindering. There's so much more to the child than they say. So like really
Right.
pay attention to the child more than their disability. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Awesome. Albert, I'm so glad that you got to join on here and everything. Thank you for coming on to share about you and everything. So thankful.
I'm glad to be on here too.